Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of the WrestleCore podcast. I'm your host, Mr. William D. Morgan. Also have my co-host, Mr. Justin David Kish. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3. We got a lot to talk about in this episode, a lot of releases and some other news going on in the world of professional wrestling. The first thing that we need to touch on would be the release of 8 superstars. Some make sense. There was one that was just blatantly criminal. The 8 names that got released: King Barrett, Damian Sandow, Santino Marella, Cameron, Hornswoggle, Alex Riley, El Torito, and Zeb Coulter. Justin, did you want to talk about any of those releases? What guy stands out to you, and can some of these guys rebound to have some type of a career after the E?
Well, the two guys that really stand out to me is, obviously the two headliners. That's Damian Sandow and Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett made a statement saying that he's going to be stepping away from professional wrestling for a little bit. That's what he said in his statement. Not, long term. He's going to be back into wrestling. So I think that, once he goes on a much, deserved vacation, the WWE has given him a lot, but the WWE just never really rose him to his full potential. I thought he had, WWE champion all over him, just a couple of years ago. With this whole new look, I was not a fan of the whole name of King Barrett, Bad News Barrett. Book him as Wade Barrett. You can still book him as your champion. You can still run with him as your champion. I just never thought that, they gave him a lot of success, multiple IC titles, the King of the Ring, but that with all the new additions, he's always has his name changed. So that I think really, put him on the back burner as well. Damian Sandow, me and you have already been very vocal on Damian Sandow and how the WWE really owed him, with that flop Money in the Bank win. I just think that, it comes at the wrong time. Damian Sandow, everybody's mad at the releasing. I'm really pissed at the releasing. I think those are the two guys that can really hit the independent scene. I think more than likely, Wade Barrett will have more success than Damian Sandow. I don't know what kind of persona, what kind of character Sandow will be portraying when he goes on the Indies. I think that Wade Barrett can end up being one of those guys that can have a Drew Galloway kind of story, goes to TNA, ends up becoming the next champion, going worst to first. TNA is a company that really needs talent fast, and I think those are the two hottest free agents on the market right now. Damian Sandow, I would love to put in him with if they were to go to TNA. I would love to see Sandow go and pair up with Mike Bennett as part of this whole new miracle kind of ordeal in TNA. I think that him and Bennett will be a great heelish tag team. That's the way I would put Sandow if he was to get signed by TNA. I know everybody's predicting that TNA is going to be making a run at these guys. I've also made a video on here on the YouTube channel about the releasings. I think that Damian Sandow in the cards of ROH is not in the books. I don't think that's really, much of a need there. I think the ROH is doing just fine with the talent they have. I just don't think Sandow will be a good addition for them or a good fit. I think TNA will be a better fit for him, but I think Wade Barrett is going to be the guy that I think overall will have more success, and hopefully down the line we can see him return to the WWE.
I think the guy who pretty much screwed himself and put himself in this spot was Alex Riley. When you did that free Alex Riley movement some time ago, you pretty much screwed yourself. And once that was done, they took you off of Raw, put you down at NXT, tried to find something to do with you just to keep you on the payroll till that contract runs out, and then you're gone. So that was a mistake on his part. Cameron's mistake was backing Ryback and his stupid comments that we'll get into in a minute. Those were some of the most idiotic comments I ever heard in my life. But Cameron backed him. And when Cameron gave that sort of pseudo support to what Ryback was saying, then that kind of put her in WWE's crossfires. Everybody else made sense. Santino retired 2 years ago. Hornswoggle wasn't doing anything. El Torito wasn't doing anything. His team was being rebranded. Zeb Coulter needed to go, though I doubt if he's truly gone. They probably just took him from being a talent contract to more of a creative contract. And also should be noted that Hornswoggle and Zeb Coulter will be going over to GWF for some appearances there as well. So some of these guys may be okay. Others may have to work a little bit harder on the indie scene to make that money that they were getting paid on WWE. but some of these guys should be okay.
I mean, I'm not really, sad that all the other talent got released. Cameron wasn't doing much. I think it was in an episode of Total Divas that she said she wants to go down to NXT, reinvent herself. Even when she went down to NXT, she didn't do anything. She was jobbing out to Asuka. She was, getting dominated in matches down there. No push for her at all. I mean, she just was mainly just a Total Divas cast member, in my opinion. No disrespect, she's a beautiful woman. Don't get me wrong about that. I liked her. She's a beautiful woman, but maybe if she was like a manager, maybe if they rebooked her as a manager, maybe she could get a tag team together. Maybe a tag team down to NXT, make her become like basically like a manager. I think that would be the best way for her to go down, going forward. If the wrestling business is, for her down the future. I know she's modeling, doing a bunch of other things, great for her. But, a lot of people are very critical in her in-ring ability. Nothing was just going about it, so, she's a flop there. El Torito, on the other hand, put up a great matchup with him and Hornswoggle in the, I forgot what it was. It was part of the I want to say it was part of the TLC pay-per-view, where El Torito and Hornswoggle had a match, and it was actually a very good match. Everybody was, very up for it. It was a very exciting match, but that was the only thing that came about. But El Torito's character really went on the back burner because of the whole new repackaging of Diego Fernando, or what is it Diego Fernando, the Los Matadores?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're getting repackaged right now. We're seeing a lot of these packages being played throughout Raw for the last month and a half now. Nothing has come about them, but El Torito's character became expendable. Chopping block. Santino Marella retired a long time ago. He is basically landing in that ambassador role with the WWE, kind of like what Brie Bella has today, which is basically a no role in the company, besides doing these appearances where she will get paid for these appearances, but it's nothing too big. So honestly, Santino Marella is having a lot more success outside of the ring. He opened up his own gym. That's becoming a very successful gym from what I hear. But he's doing better now. But like I said, it's just all these guys who got released after that. Alex Riley he did good with The Miz. He learning from The Miz, throughout his stint from the NXT, going up to the main roster, becoming, Miz's, backup boy. I thought I saw something in Alex Riley. I thought with the whole new look that he had right now, the whole rage kind of ordeal that he's going on in NXT. He has not been on NXT for quite a while. I know he's causing drama with, other podcast hosts here on in the podcasting world. He's just not doing much to really, cement a spot within the company. He's barely promoted. He's barely going on any, house shows, and that's even worse. You're not getting booked on house shows. House shows is basically, the WWE likes to put guys, who need some more spotlight, on them. House shows are for the much, younger, or not much younger, the guys who are below the mid card. Put them onto the card, and then there you go. You have the house show. I know Michael P.S. Hayes, books the house shows, and he's, overlooking Alex Riley. So Alex Riley is becoming expendable. Maybe Alex Riley could be resurfaced in TNA. I think that he can make a run with the King of the Mountain Championship, or whatever the hell that is. Maybe he could be part of a role there. But there's a lot of these. Those couple of guys. Sandow and Barrett are the two guys that stand out to me the most, and that's going to be the biggest hit from the WWE. Now it's just they're losing some top mid card talent, which could be main event talent, mainly in Wade Barrett. I'm still not 100% in on Sandow as a full blown champion yet. But hopefully that he does get some heat around his name down in the independent circuit, and we'll probably see him down in the WWE in the coming years.
We shall definitely see what he does. There we go. I thought I was on mute there. Sorry. We just definitely see what he does. There's a couple other people whose name has been rumored to be on a chopping block as well. Mark Henry, even though he's retired, he's been on the rumor list to be released. Ryback is also there for his little comments, his slash holdout over him saying that every wrestler should get equal pay. Ryback, you're an idiot for that. You are not looking at it from a business standpoint at all with that comment. And that is putting you on the target list for WWE to cut you. What do you think about the remarks and the statements that Ryback has made?
I was pretty critical on it. I respect what Ryback does, in his statements and everything like that. His in-ring work just bored the hell out of me over time. But like I said, we commented on Ryback before. Ryback was promoted, a lot with the WWE around 2013 or late 2012. Doing that rivalry with CM Punk. But, throughout the whole Hell in a Cell issue, becoming the Paul Heyman guy, the WWE tried running with him and tried giving him, some main event, some huge caliber main event matches. He flopped. He just never really worked out in the WWE's plans, would not work out in the minds of fans. Ryback is becoming expendable. And a lot of people are now having a change of mind. Now that, Ryback will be on the chopping block, he can be expendable. We can find another big guy in the WWE. There's a couple of guys in NXT that I think that deserve a much bigger push. That can be booked as another big guy. I know they have the Authors of Pain. That's a tag team that should be coming onto the scene at NXT here pretty soon. I think that one of those guys can be the next big guy. So I think Ryback's expendable at this point, but his comments just kind of make me flabbergasted a little bit. That's my word for the day for you guys who do not know. Being paid the same way as everybody else, everybody should be, making the same kind of money. No. Ryback does not deserve main event money. There's been guys on the main roster who have really, jumped a whole lot of ships, jumping up to main event form, selling merchandise, everything like that. That makes you a huge, main event star, being booked, great matches. John Cena should not be making, the same kind of money that, low mid-card guys are making. Low mid-card guys should not be making money that John Cena should be making. It just does not, it makes no sense. For example, if Cameron theoretically wins the or the women's championship, she should not be making, top, she should be making top tier dollar then. If you don't have a big title on you, you should not be making less money. You should be making good money or more money. If you're below mid-card, you should be making less money. That means you're barely booked, you're barely promoted, you're barely seen on TV. You should not be making, top dollar. You should not have an equal pay within the company. If you have to earn your money. You have to earn your stake in the company. You have to, really, cement your spot. You got to earn everything that you deserve. You should not be just being guaranteed. Just because you sign a contract with World Wrestling Entertainment does not mean you should be getting equal amount of money that guys like John Cena, Seth Rollins, a Roman Reigns, and AJ Styles should be making. But Ryback, his kind of debate, it just does not make sense. It does not come up to terms, and I just don't think that everybody should be paid the same. I think whatever you deserve is what you deserve. If you earned it, you earned it. If you didn't, you just do not earn the you deserve the top dollar.
A couple other things that we got going on right now in the world of professional wrestling. Bring a couple of items from TNA very quickly. We're going to go ahead and get that a little bit fast. They're trying to restructure their contract of all this top talent so they can control all of their bookings. They also end up re-signing Eli Drake. I thought that it was kind of interesting to see them try to scurry around and control everyone's bookings. For a while there, they pretty much had those guys being able to work an independent show while being with them. That wasn't always the case with them. Then they kind of sort of relaxed the rules, and now they're going back to being stringent again. With their money troubles, I'm shocked that this is being done with the money troubles. They're not paying folks. That's why Bobby Roode and Eric Young left. They were owed 6 digits combined, and that's why they left, because TNA never paid them. Now you're trying to control guys' bookings and holding them to their contracts, in which a lot of them probably aren't being paid on. I'm kind of shocked that I'm seeing this.
I think TNA, they've got to do whatever they do in order to keep talent. They've got to continue producing shows, and you cannot, do shows without key talent. Eli Drake, I think just recently won, the TNA King of the Mountain Championship. Like I said, what the hell is that? Yeah. It's just, what the F? I don't want to cuss or anything or curse. I know a lot of people will give us heat for that. But, they got to keep, guys around the company. There's still no update on who's his buyer or who's going to be buying TNA. We've just heard that there could be potential interest from an outside company that is linked to a TV company, so TNA could be back on another TV deal. I don't want to, spread the ultimate rumor, but I heard there's someone linked to a TV contract. Maybe it could be with Pop. Maybe, something like that could be coming around. Maybe TNA can find a legitimate permanent home longer than 9 months on a TV deal, maybe with this whole new deal. But, everything has got to come down first. What they really got to understand and really have to, cement is their talent. Also, they got to cement a regular TV schedule. A lot of their replays of their shows are being pulled off, moved to other times of their network. So it's a very sticky situation out there. But keeping the booking, keeping the superstars booked is key. The WWE has everybody booked. You barely see WWE superstars do any outside or other if at all. You don't see WWE superstars appearing on the indie scene besides if you sign like a part-time contract like RVD did. RVD's no longer with the company right now. So unless you sign a short-term contract and you're officially done with your commitment to that current contract, then you can go out. TNA is actually going the other direction. You can still take independent bookings. I know the Wolves, when their contract was up for a small period of time, they were taking independent bookings while still, working out their final contract with TNA. There's been, guys like Eric Young has done it. It's just, TNA is just, they're trying to just keep the talent where it is because they got to need this talent down the line. They've got to really cement themselves. And TNA is still doing good. They're still doing good, in-ring wise with the storylines and the matches have been decent. It's just their talent keeps on coming and going. So they've got to keep these guys, within the company. Got to keep them, entertained and have them doing something. Eli Drake was one of the big guys. They just gave him the King of the Mountain Championship, defeating Bram after he was attacked by Lashley. If you guys remember that, I think on the April 23rd episode of Impact Wrestling. So, he is a guy that's going to be, sticking around. So, TNA has a good mind, but let's just see, how it plays off over time. Because, like I said, there's some free agents right now on the market that they can go after, and they can continue to, book some, top tier guys. And I would love to see a Drew Galloway, a current day Drew Galloway versus a Wade Barrett. Why not? I would love to see that. It's just, hopefully that, the money is right for these guys, and, TNA does have that money to, book these guys and get them on TV.
Stephanie McMahon was in the news last week telling TMZ that at some point she expects China will be in the Hall of Fame. That's just blasphemous. Blasphemous.
China deserves it. I would not want to hear from Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It came from Stephanie's mouth. That's what I'm thinking is blasphemous. They didn't like each other. That's well documented. And for her to say that she would be in at some point, rather than now, it's just ridiculous to me.
Look at what Macho Man Randy Savage. He didn't go in, a year after, 2 years after, 3 years after. I think it was like up to 4 to 5 years after he was. What? Let me rephrase that. What year did Macho Man pass away? So I don't want to, sound like an idiot when it comes to this.
Let's look some things up then, shall we? Give me a second here. But yeah, that's the thing. At some point, she should have said next induction in terms of China for everything that China did. And to say at some point...
4 years after the fact, sorry to cut you off. It was 4 years after the fact that Randy Savage died. They inducted him into the Hall of Fame. Class of 2015, he passed away in May of 2011. Mm-hmm. So, could they be giving China the Macho Man Randy Savage treatment? Hopefully not. I think that China, if not this, the 2017 Hall of Fame, hopefully the 2018. It has to be at least the 2018. Because they gotta wait for, China's, death still impacts everybody today.
Yep.
Impacts Vince Russo, impacts the fans, impacts me, probably impacts you.
Yep.
Because China was so beloved, she was so great, she was more over than Triple H was at a point. So, when you go and look at it, she is a huge figure in professional wrestling. And if you don't, get her into the Hall of Fame, you expect WWE to get a lot of backlash following the 2018 Hall of Fame if she is not in the Hall of Fame. Because this is just insane. We're still waiting on, I want to say I think Miss Elizabeth was actually inducted in the Hall of Fame, but it took a long time. If not, that she still deserves to be put into the Hall of Fame. She's done a whole lot. If Macho Man Randy Savage can get in, with his controversy with Stephanie at one point, why can't Miss Elizabeth get in as well? We're still waiting for that, actually.
Yeah.
It's just the WWE, whoever books the Hall of Fame should get Miss Elizabeth and China in the Hall of Fame in one Hall of Fame ceremony. That's going to be one of the most watched, in my opinion, because I'll be there. China fans will be there. I'll book my flight for WrestleMania weekend if China gets inducted, because I love China. I miss her to death, and hopefully I wish she was just still there here with us.
Also in the news this week, Adam Rose reposted his doctor's note on Twitter, saying that he was taking ADHD medication, which is why WWE suspended him. Now, that thing was handwritten. To me, it should have been typed more than it should have been handwritten. And it should have been just more than a note. We should have got some other information to go along with it as well, to put this thing into some type of legitimacy. He's been suspended for 60 days. So he should have made it, should have gave more information, more in-depth information, and maybe that could have made a difference in his suspension.
Let's just get something clear here. I have ADHD. Alright, I may not sound like I have ADHD. Sometimes I slur my words. Sometimes I try to say some of my words, but I just can't get at the tip of my tongue, so that makes me stutter sometimes. ADHD is a real thing. And, it's been linked to a lot of MLB players, NFL players, now professional wrestlers. ADHD, everybody says that ADHD, it triggers like mood changes. ADHD is the real thing. A lot of people say, well, you can have a healthy diet and lay off your sugar. You'll live a normal everyday life. You don't. It's completely different. I'm not going to go into a full spectacle on it, but medication helps people, try to get with it and try cure it up a little bit. ADHD you're going to live with for the rest of your life. There's a lot of side effects when it comes to it. It's something that I was just recently diagnosed with. Something that Jeff Hardy had, restless leg syndrome, before he first left the WWE. That triggers your entire body. You're up throughout the entire night. If you're not on your medication, you can end up, losing sleep, losing a lot of, self-esteem, depression. It happens. I felt it before. I don't take medication. I feel fine, but those are all potential side effects to what ADHD can do down the line if you're on medication, everything like that. So, Adam Rose is making a case, and if it's doctor prescribed, you're not hiding anything from the WWE. All right, you can't abuse ADHD medication. It's not like if you're off your meds, you're going to go into a complete binge where you have to go and get like other kinds of drugs to make sure you're healthy. I think what the WWE should do is listen to doctors. If you listen to doctors and you get the medication that's prescribed to you for any kind of illness, any kind of basically any kind of illness that you do have, the WWE should be willing to listen and be okay with it. Because if you don't hide it from the WWE, I think they should be okay with it. If you go to, head office or, whatever the case may be, go to their medical staff. You present them with everything, the doctors call them, you should be, right there with them. If it's like anabolic steroids, yeah, your ass should be you should be fired for sure. Mm-hmm. But if you're taking something as small as ADHD medication like Adderall and stuff, I mean, if you abuse Adderall and you're not, diagnosed with like ADHD or anything, then fine, you can end up getting suspended for it. But if you're using it for the right reasons, like Adam Rose is, and for what I've read, then he should be fine. He should be back on television. I know he's not going to have a big role at all. This is why I think that Leo Kruger the character should come back, get him back down to NXT, drop the whole Adam Rose bullshit. There you go. But the WWE should be really sitting down and speaking to their roster about the whole wellness policy. This thing is a joke. It's a scam. I don't like it, and it's just stuff like this that irritates me. I think they really need to fix this up. if you're doing legitimate hard steroids, then your ass should not even be suspended. Your ass should not even be, long-term suspension. Your ass should be fired. I'm a kind of guy that does not like steroid people in the WWE. I know a lot of people in the past have been on steroids in the WWE. I'm willing to forgive and forget, but this is 2016. This is today. If you're doing steroids, you're a complete idiot. But if you're taking things as small as Adderall and you have to get suspended for 60 days, the WWE is a bunch of idiots. Adderall it does not really affect anything, your physical thing in the ring.
Right.
It just does not.
All right, let's head over to a little bit of a brighter subject. Have you seen, and I'll play the little opening, have you seen Camp WWE yet?
I have not. I'm actually going to end up watching this before Raw kicks off in about 2 hours or so.
Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can play this real quick.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
That was the very beginning of Camp WWE, and for those who haven't seen it or haven't heard about it, it's kind of cool. It takes all your WWE wrestlers, takes Vince McMahon, puts him in it. Ric Flair is hilarious in this. You gotta definitely catch it and check it out. You will be rolling and just having a good time by all. However, let me stress one thing: this is not something your kids should watch.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I know it's going to be a nice WWE night going forward. We got 3 hours of Raw. It's just there's a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to tonight on Raw. I'm actually booking my ticket, by the way, guys, to get off the Camp WWE subject. I am booking a ticket for the June 22nd edition of Monday Night Raw, so hopefully it is a good show. I'm probably going to end up reviewing it on the channel, youtube.com. Just search our channel, Nexus Sports Network. You guys can find everything on there, our interviews, everything like that. But probably end up, recording, like a day in the life kind of video, something that I'm probably going to end up start doing, every now and then. You guys want to see what we do behind the scenes. I think that's going to be a good way to start it. If any kind of, sports appearance or sports event I go to, I go to a lot of Diamondbacks games out here in Arizona. I live out here in Arizona, so maybe a WWE, day in the life kind of ordeal. Go through my day, throughout the entire day leading up to that Monday Night Raw episode. So that could be something that we could be doing down the line. So, but yeah, pretty fun day. I have booked for that day, so I'll give you guys some more updates on where exactly I would sit and everything, so on and so forth on that.
Excuse me. Well, again, man, I wish I can go out there with you, but we don't get Raw in Atlanta that often, and we don't get pay-per-views in Atlanta that often. So the next one that comes, I definitely got to go. I missed the last one some years ago, so I won't make the same mistake twice. Guaranteed, I won't make the same mistake twice. If I had a little bit of extra time knowing that it was coming, I definitely would have went. I think you posted on Twitter earlier this week, Naomi is out with an ankle injury.
Yes, it's either an ankle or a knee injury. Let me pull this up on the site. I'm sorry for not being 100% prepared. But, these are subjects that are just coming out for us. We do make articles. But like I said, Naomi is out with an injury. She did hit Twitter and made an official announcement. She has been sidelined for quite a while, has barely been seen on TV. It's an ankle injury. I think she said she torn a tendon in her ankle, and those take months to get back to 100%. Naomi has been probably one of my underrated wrestlers on the women's roster for quite a while now. Last year she could have had the champion on her. I would have been fun with it. I think she was really much needed of it because she's one of the most acrobatic, current women's wrestlers on the roster. She's a new face. If you put her in the title picture, I know she had a small stint in the title picture a couple of years back, or about a year or so back, but that year she should have been the champion. I know at that time they still had AJ Lee about to leave the company, Nikki Bella's run. They gave it to Charlotte. They overlooked Naomi. Naomi, since disbanding from the Funkadactyl stable, really took my eye. She was fantastic. Her in-ring, and capabilities, the way that she, controls matches, it's just fantastic. She's being put on the back burner for quite some time now. I know her whole thing with Team Bad. That's something that I wish that never happened. I didn't like that whole, three women's division kind of ordeal. You had Becky Lynch on one team and Charlotte on with team with Becky. It's just, they called it up. At the time it was a good call up, but then again, it's just nothing really came about it. Naomi was a girl that's turning into a heel. I think she really does well as a heel in her role. I just wish that she did a little bit better on the mic. I think that she barely gets any mic time. I want to see her mic work extend a little bit. So maybe, now that she's out with the, torn tendon, she can work on that. And hopefully that the WWE gets a whole new look within the women's title picture. But then again, you also got to look at Sasha Banks' opportunity. Can you imagine Naomi and Sasha Banks in a match? I think that would be a good match. Some people think like, oh, it's just Naomi. She's just not really, up to our par. Naomi's fucking awesome. I love Naomi. Give her an opportunity. Give Tamina Snuka an opportunity. That's my girl right there. I want to see some fresh new faces. I'm done with this whole women's revolution. I'm done with Charlotte. I'm done with I'm done with the basic matchups we see week in and week out. Natalia's not winning anything from Charlotte. Charlotte's going to ride that to SummerSlam with Sasha Banks. We recapped that in episode 2 of WrestleCore. I want to see a fresh new face. I think Naomi, when she comes back, could be that fresh new face. I don't want to see Charlotte and Sasha Banks continue to feud all the way to either Night of Champions or Survivor Series, and then all of a sudden we see Naomi come back and then she's back down to having a rivalry with Natalya or having just basic matches on Superstars. No, book her correctly, because you can legitimately strike gold with Naomi if you just give her the time in the ring.
I like Naomi. I liked her. Oh. Yeah, I like Naomi. I thought she was kind of caught up in the Paige storm, so to speak. When WWE was trying to push Paige, it was against her, and I think she lost 2 title matches to Paige. And I don't know what WWE. I'm not trying to put down Paige. I like Naomi more in ring than I do Paige. She's a little bit more athletic in the ring. Whereas Paige is all ground and pound, Naomi can give you some excitement in the ring. So I was kind of shocked that Naomi didn't get a shot to be champion. I think they could have done well with her being champion. And with her being a Samoan in-law, that kind of makes the judgment a little bit more cloudy for WWE not putting her as your Divas champion back then. But now, with the forefront of what the women's revolution is, maybe she can grab onto that women's championship against Sasha Banks after Sasha makes a nice long run with the belt.
I mean, that would be ideal, but we'll see what the WWE has in store, because I want to see a whole new face in the women's division. I'm tired. I love Becky. I love Charlotte, but it's just the WWE is just focusing shifts on these 3 women. I mean, I guess you could just cut out, Sasha Banks, because she's barely getting, TV time, barely getting matches. It's a damn shame. They're basically crowding everything with Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Natalya. I like it with the whole new fresh face. We know she's not going to end up winning anything from him, because, like you said in episode 2, she's the mother goose of the division.
Yep.
It's just not really fair that you were seeing same matches, same promo, or not, or same segments. It's just getting old. It's getting very, very old in this women's division. And you know what? When they first came up, the division was hot. The division was great. We saw finally the debut of Charlotte, Becky, Sasha Banks. We saw that. We were all pumped for it. But going down the line, yeah, it's just put off to the side, and now we're taking Charlotte as our champion. Becky Lynch is going to be the one that we can always get over on. Then there's Sasha Banks, the outside looking in.
But
hopefully
now,
that this product goes up and, Sasha gets back into the title picture.
well, now with Tessa Blanchard over in NXT, you can bring up the 4 horsewomen if you choose to do so, which is something that me and my co-host of Wrestling Calling Show, Big Tom, has always been advocating for. You can take Tessa Blanchard, you can take Sasha Banks, you can take Becky Lynch, you can take Charlotte. Put those 4 ladies together, and there's your 4 horsewomen right there. You can bring them up to the main roster, make it fun, make it exciting again. Heck, if you decide to bring back the Women's Tag Team Championship, that the last time they were won, the Jumping Bomb Angels won them back in the day. If you decide to bring that back up to the forefront, that's even more for the better. There are things you can do to make this division interesting again for the ladies. And you've done some good things. You took away the Divas Championship, but back the Women's Championship, I thought that was the best thing you could have done. You got some serious competitors up in there now. No more of these models turned athletes or whatnot. You got some serious athletes doing their thing up there on the main roster down in NXT too, with Asuka being there. Bayley is still there, so you can actually do some things with these ladies, and now is the time to definitely do so. Let's move on to some other news of the week. I don't know if you remember a wrestler by the name of Too Cold Scorpio.
Absolutely.
Okay.
ECW original.
Yes. He was in the news this week talking about Ric Flair, called him a punk bitch, and blames him for his WCW release. Ric Flair had that much pull back in WCW to get somebody released?
I don't know much, WCW. I go back to watching WCW in May '99. That's when I first started WWE, and that's when I first started getting into it. So you probably have more knowledge I do on the situation, so I'm going to hand this all over to you, my friend.
I knew Ric Flair had some power, but I did not know he had powers to get guys released. Wow, that's amazing to me. But I guess that could be true. Goldberg needs to thank Kevin Sullivan, because Kevin Sullivan actually got Goldberg in there and gave him a shot, and now Hayes King got a 5-minute match. So, but to have Ric Flair call for somebody's release, I don't know. But that's what Too Cold Scorpio said in his video. So we have to wait and see if there's a legitimacy to that. I
know Too Cold Scorpio during his Flash Funk days in the early days of the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as far as I go back. So I'm talking like 96 to like 99. Mm-hmm. So around that 3 year, 4 year run in the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as far as I go with Too Cold. And I've also, his time in ECW. He's done a lot of big things in ECW. A lot of house shows. He also had a match. I want to say in Japan. Which led to I want to say he left right after the Japan show in '96 to go to the WWE. I think that's documented as well. Mm-hmm. But those are just the finer moments I do have of Flash Funk, aka Too Cold Scorpio, and also his time in the Job Squad. So that's where I sit with Scorpio right now.
Well, Scorpio was in WCW from '92 to '94, and he was released back in '94. But he also commentated on some of the pay-per-views later that year. So. For him to come out and say it was Ric Flair's fault, I don't know. I don't know about that. He did make 2 WWE runs. It was 96 to 99 in WWF, and then he returned to the E 2006, 2007. So he made a couple of runs, had a couple of cups of coffee with the company. I still can't believe that Ric Flair had him fired. And speaking of Ric Flair, he's also got pulled off a couple of live events over the weekend so he can make his appearance tonight on Raw. It wasn't said why he was held back from the live events, though. Maybe it was that airport incident that we talked about last week. Could have been it.
I honestly thought that, the WWE could finally cut ties for a while with Ric Flair. I mean, he's always had incidents of being drunk. I'm not the one to become a Debbie Downer, a guy that takes shots at people, but as reporters, as fans, as people who are not biased here on this podcast, we call it how we see it. The WWE should have parted ways with Ric Flair following that incident. But then again, I think what they're doing, they have to ride out this storyline with Natalya and Charlotte to completely vanish from the face of the earth, and then you can deal with Ric Flair after the fact. Unless Ric Flair shapens up, gets back to being 100%, and he's focused back on wrestling, I would have cut Ric Flair right then and there. I know it's going to cause a lot of backlash. WWE will have to address it at some point. That's all coming up at some point. But, Ric Flair has ultimately disappointed me, with that. I like Ric Flair. I'm not, a hardcore fan of Ric Flair. I respect the guy when he's done in the wrestling business. But behind the scenes, with that, being a numerous amount of times that, he's had, high-stake incidents. I'm not saying that his incident at the airport was a high-stake incident, but it was still an incident nonetheless. It's just stuff like that continues to add up with him. How many more times did the WWE continue to let him, appear drunk, appear kind of crazy? How much longer do we have to sit through that?
Right. A couple of things in the news very quickly before we get out of here. Seth Rollins was in a workout clip this week on Instagram, showing him throwing the old medicine ball around with a few people. So hopefully he should be returning to TV very, very soon, maybe within the next month. Finn Balor did a Q&A with WWE, saying that his dream opponent would be John Cena. Said he would fight Brock Lesnar. Says that Zack Sabre Jr. should be signed with NXT.
Hell yeah.
And would love to face Bray Wyatt as the Demon against with the Bullet Club versus the Wyatt family. Said his favorite diva is Becky, and his favorite NXT diva is Eva Marie, the redheaded stepchild, as I like to call her. Oh, I can't stand Eva Marie.
You gotta give her credit that she was actually doing pretty solid, so far. She's turning it around. Alright, it does not mean that, she's still getting over with fans. She's not getting over one bit with the fans. It's Eva Marie. The name alone kills it. Eva Marie, the most beautiful diva, I have to say, on the WWE roster today.
No, sir.
She's right up there. She's easily top 3.
Can't say that. No, beauty-wise. Work with me here. I would go down active wrestlers. I would put Becky Lynch number 1. That's my girl. Number 2, I put Natalya. And then I put Eva Marie. Then Paige. That's just how I would book it. That's beauty right there. If we're just looking at the beauty-wise. In-ring-wise, Eva Marie's like last place. Probably above her, or probably, way above her. Right after Eva Marie, I'll put Dana Brooke. Nope. And she's backstage at wrestling tonight. She's backstage at Raw tonight. That's the latest rumor coming out of wrestling as of right now. She's backstage at Raw tonight. I don't think that she's going to end up debuting, because there's been a lot of people that come backstage at Raw, even in NXT. Finn Balor was there, Hideo Itami was there. What's the update on Hideo Itami? What's his ordeal coming about? Because he's actually overdue his return date, if I'm not mistaken. That's I heard. He should be back shortly. He posted on Twitter saying he was 80% there, so he should be back sooner than later, according to his Twitter account.
I want to see Hideo Itami versus Nakamura.
Me too.
If that can headline the next NXT TakeOver event, I'm campaigning right now for an NXT TakeOver in Arizona. Having like an Arizona TakeOver, that will be, effing fantastic. I would love to see that.
I'm waiting on Dana Brooke versus Asuka. That's what I want to see.
What? Dana Brooke?
She's alright, man.
She's alright. She's like 2 stars out of like 10. She's alright.
You don't like her?
I don't see money with her. I mean, I'm not booking a Vince Russo promo here, bro. I'm just saying it's just I don't see anything in Dana Brooke right now. I don't think she's a solid in-ring performer. She's barely in the ring. She's better on the mic than she is in the ring. I mean, that's just saying something. Her mic skills need to be touching up a whole lot.
Right.
I just don't see anything in Dana Brooke. There's just something about her. She's hot. That's the best thing about it. But, it just does not complement the wrestling. It's just, I'm not in it. Look at girls like, look at the women's wrestlers like, Asuka, Bayley. The looks really work with the in-ring skill. They're fantastic in-ring performers. So there you go. We have kick-ass, beautiful women in NXT. We have a lot of kick-ass, beautiful women up at the main roster. Natalya, Emma. Emma's finally coming back around.
Yes.
There's just so much on there, but does Dana Brooke? It's just she does not fit the fold.
She looked fantastic on Raw last week, by the way.
Emma.
Yes.
Emma.
Yes. Fantastical.
I'm still waiting for my Miss Cheerleader Melissa, my girl. Give her a call to NXT. I want to see that right now.
Her ties to Lucha, I don't know, man. I don't know if you'll see that with her ties to Lucha, but we shall see. Stranger things that definitely happened. A couple other things very, very quickly. 2 potential WWE women's DVDs are to be released in 2017, according to the fan council survey issued by WWE. One will be based on Stephanie McMahon, and the second would be based on the Divas Revolution. Finally, my girl Leah Vaughn over in Smash Wrestling has just signed an agreement to perform for Stardom in Japan. So that's just fantastic for her. She's going to be gone off American soil for a little bit, but to get that deal with Stardom is a big deal. Huge deal.
You're a big fanatic of independent women's wrestling. I know Shimmer to an extent. I love watching girls like like I said, cheerleader Melissa Hogan. I love her. Those are the 2 girls that I love. They're my number 1 and number 2 in women's wrestling. I love Santana Garrett.
I hate her.
I love Santana Garrett. A lot of people have different ordeals. So there's just a lot of ands, ifs, or buts right now. I would love to see some new women come up to NXT. I know the WWE is doing a great job signing the guys. Get the women's division some more love. I want to see some more love for the women's division down in NXT. I know we have our reigning champion in Asuka. I know Bayley is there. But outside of that, you do have, Liv Morgan, a girl who's pretty spunky and I think can really have that underdog kind of story, because that's what I see around her. Then we have Miss Trish Stratus 2.0 herself, and Miss Alexa, Glitter, Gliss, Sparkle, and Bliss. So there's a lot of interesting, women's talent, developing well. But Bayley's overdue for a main roster run. I think that Alexa Bliss should be that next champion, following Asuka. Bayley should be called up. Asuka and I think Alexa Bliss, if they book her correctly, I think it'll be some great, good matches. I'm not saying it's going to end up being 10 out of 10, unless they shock the world. But from there, where does the women's division go? Nia Jax has been a big flop. She hasn't been on TV for quite a while until most recently, where she made an appearance. Maybe the WWE, NXT could be running with Asuka and Nia Jax. That could be a possibility. But from there, what development do they have with their wrestlers in the women's division? Nothing. It's just bits and pieces. That's why I think what NXT should do is go 2 hours. They go 2 hours, then you can put on, more than one women's matchup. And women's wrestling kicks ass in NXT. Yeah, they have the occasional squash matches, but what's new? It's what it is. But if you put up, 2 hours, you can see guys like Ty Dillinger be on the show. You can continue to have a more solid storyline, except of just having development matches after development match after development match, stuff like that. That's what I want to see. So
I just sent you a picture of Leah Vaughn.
Leah Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like I will have to read up on that and probably do a podcast on her. Maybe we'll talk about her in episode 4 next week, and see how she is doing.
Yes.
But I'm really going to be reading up on her because, like I said, I love to learn about all sorts of independent wrestlers. I'm actually friends. If you guys want to add me on Facebook, you guys can feel free to. I post statuses every day about sports and mainly professional wrestling as well. Facebook.com/myname, Justin David Kish. I post nothing but sports, so you need a sports account and someone to talk sports with. I'm your guy. But I would love to read up on it and talk to professional wrestlers as well. I'm friends with a lot of wrestlers on there, so go through my friends list and start adding them up. We would love to get some more shine on women's wrestling. Other wrestlers. Book them if you're a booker as well. If you're listening to this show, thank you. So hopefully we can start doing some more independent podcasts. Just mainly on the independent circuit. I'm getting really into it, so just bear with us over time. We should have something coming your way.
All right, Justin, anything you want to say before we go ahead and chime out for the night?
Just I hope you guys enjoy Raw tonight. The WWE's been on a nice roll of Raw shows. We're going to be back next week. We're going to have a lot more topics for you guys. We're going to do a quick recap of Raw. I'll probably end up doing something for SmackDown. Giving up our thoughts on Roman Reigns. I do have a couple of things I want to do next week. I just want to make sure everything is just set in stone. Still looking into interviews. I know I've promised you guys interviews with independent stars. Taking it step by step, day by day. I want them, some talent like to get paid for interviews, even if they're on the independent circuit. I'm not talking we're going to get like John Cena, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns on here. Some independent guys, hopefully that they would come around and do an interview with us. But it's very hard to get interviews, including in the world of wrestling, where wrestling is a big thing. It's now coming back into the limelight, in my opinion. A lot of people are very much following professional wrestling now than what it was, a couple of years ago because of the whole PG era in the WWE. Because everybody looks at WWE as that face of professional wrestling. Expand your mind a little bit. Hit up some independent shows. Ring of Honor, TNA, even though they're on budget issues right now, they still produce good shows. You can look at other, Lucha Underground's very good. WWE is not just the face of wrestling. There are other great promotions out there. So expand your mind a little bit, and then just continue to come back with us because we're going to give you guys a lot of great, topics, a lot of opinions here on this channel. So, but beyond that, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Justin David Kish. You guys can also check me out on my Facebook, facebook.com/JustinDavidKish, like I just promoted a couple minutes ago. Check out the website, NexusSportsNetwork.com. We got your NHL coverage for the playoffs. We got, WWE stuff up to date, NFL stuff, MLB. We got you covered 98% of the way, maybe even 120% of the way in the world of sports. You're not going to find coverage of every single sports league like we do. We got you guys covered. We would love to give you guys all the best coverage in professional sports, semi-pro sports, high school sports, college sports. We got you guys covered. So take the time, head on over to our website, read an interview or two, grab popcorn, grab a soda, enjoy it. And that's basically what I have to say, man. Thank you.
If you guys want to follow along with me, I am at WillieMorg7. WILLIMORG, the number 7 on Twitter. That's my personal Twitter. For the show, the Wrestling Call-In Show Twitter is at Wrestling Call-In. That way you can follow along with all my updates and everything I have to say. Also join me every Saturday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, for the Wrestling Call-In Show on rantemradio.com. 11 p.m. We're about an hour and a half to 2 hours podcast. That'll definitely get you caught up in the world of professional wrestling. And we even do more talk than professional wrestling, and we also have interviews from time to time with some of the biggest indie stars. If there is nothing else, I want to thank you guys for listening to the WrestleCore podcast. We will see you guys again next week with another episode. Take care.